This is music, and this is a musical journey. Welcome to another First Impressions video. In these videos, I normally share with you my first impressions of the many blind buys I've picked up lately. However, this is a follow-up on a very adventurous VCLT I was sent by none other than the ruler of YouTube, Garage Geek. Now, if you like all things geek, comic books, B-movies, Funko Pops, and pulpy literature and all that stuff, he's got you covered. But also, if you like more canonical literature and more arty movies and art in general, he's got you covered too. Or if you like physical music, media, collecting content, vinyl, cassette tapes, all that stuff, he's got you covered too. It's a very educational channel, but also very entertaining. So go and check out Garage Geek. Now, he sent me a very adventurous and very diverse VCLT a while ago, bunch of cassette tapes and some CDs, and now I've had a chance to listen to it. And boy, this is going to be a musical journey, lots of twists and turns and unexpected routes through unexpected landscapes. Let's get down to business. Up first, Barbra Streisand Memories. Now, this is not music I would normally gravitate towards, but you know what? I actually quite enjoyed this one for two reasons. First of all, there's a bunch of hits on here, some classics, show tunes, some musical tunes as well that I could recognize. I've even been to some productions of some of the tunes on here, so I quite enjoyed that. Secondly, no matter what your taste in music is, I don't think there's any escaping the fact that Barbra Streisand could sing. Fantastic voice on this one here. Um, and she could sing lots of different genres too. You got your show tunes, you got your musical songs, but you also have a lot of ballads. You have some pop rock stuff even, and some more soulful stuff. And fantastic singer, and just that alone is worth listening to this for. So I enjoyed this one for sure. He also sent me Barbra Streisand's Greatest Hits Volume 2. Uh, this one has a lot of the same songs on it, but some additional ones too. So I enjoyed it for the same reason that I enjoyed Memories. Another thing that was interesting about this one was that when I popped it in my cassette deck and pressed play, that screechy sound came. Now, this can indicate a bunch of things. Maybe the lubricant, the chemical they would use to lubricate the tapes with back in the day, maybe that has failed. Just, if it's an old tape, that can create a screechy sound. There can also be a problem with the kind of pressure or resistance pad right here. It's basically a kind of a flexible metal strip with a felt pad on it. And if the felt pad itself is very dirty or dusty or even has mold on it, that can create that screechy sound. Or if the felt pad is loose or has fallen off completely, it can create that screechy sound. And I found out that the felt pad here was loose. So I had to glue it on, which is not too difficult. You just have to make sure to get the tape way out of the way so the glue doesn't get stuck onto it. So yeah, basically, I appended some glue to the back of the felt pad itself and attached it back to the metal strip, and I let it rest for a day. And the tape was fixed, and it plays well, and it sounds good, and so does the music, and in particular the singing. So that's pretty cool to get to fix another cassette tape, just a different procedure. Now we have this one here, Benny Goodman and his orchestra. This is kind of like a rate of hits. This is swing jazz, and it does have the swing for sure. Uh, some instrumentals and some songs with the vocals as well. Lots of hits on here. I recognized a lot of the songs, and I really, really enjoyed this one because it kind of evoked the sense of what we call hygge in Danish, which is a kind of a special state of mind, a special atmosphere, having a good time. You're chill, everything is cozy. That's hygge, and this is just hyggeligt music. That hyggelig is the adjective. So I enjoyed it for that. That was great. Really liked some swing jazz there. And then there's this one here. I guess it's Aide Gorme and the trio Los Panchos Amor. So a bunch of love songs in Spanish. I assume this is kind of early Latin pop, and it doesn't sound anything like Latin pop does today, fortunately, because I kind of don't like, well, the mainstream stuff. I'm sure there's lots of really cool stuff that's just not well known across the world. Anyhow, this is also very hyggeligt, actually. Sure, it's kind of sappy, some of it, because, love songs, but uh, she has a nice voice and it's hygge music, and I actually can imagine this being music I will enjoy having on in the background, just like the Benny Goodman one. So, yeah, I enjoyed this one actually. Here's another kind of parade of hits kind of thing. This is Glenn Miller and his orchestra. Um, Also swing jazz, a little bit slower than Benny Goodman in general, and I don't know, maybe this is older. Um, I don't know. Just that maybe the suspicion that this might be older. But also very hygge. Actually, this one also had a problem with the felt pad. In this case, the felt pad had fallen off completely. But fortunately, it was still just like kicking around in the shell here itself behind the tape, so I had to fix that one too. And that's just part of reality when you like, you know, collecting and listening to old cassette tapes. There will be some issues with some of them. Um, so yeah, but I fixed it up and it sounds great and also very enjoyable, fun swing music. I recognized a lot of these songs too. Um, yeah, this one here kind of maybe gave me, maybe it's because of the cover. This one kind of gave me um, a vibe of maybe what the First World War pilots would listen to between missions. Whereas the Benny Goodman one kind of gave me more of a, cool cat from the early 50s vibe. I'm probably completely off with the decades and all that stuff, but that's just a vibe I got. Now, something very different again. Incinerate Him, uh, Disembodied. The hype sticker says this is death metal from LA. So this is really cool. Garage Geek actually went out of his way to go to a metal record store to pick up some releases by some local LA bands to send to me, which I really appreciate. And this is one of them. So this is death metal. It's quite brutal, but it's not brutal death metal, if you know what I mean. It's more, it has that old school kind of morbid angel type brutality. Lots of blasty parts, but not super blasty all the time. Uh, so a good mix of old school and more new school death metal. To my ears, it leans a little bit more towards the old school part. So this is really, really good stuff. If you like death metal, check out Incinerate Him, Disembodied. Great death metal from LA. You would think they were from Florida, though. That's the kind of sound, if you know what I mean. Great stuff. Really, really enjoyable death metal. Another LA band, but a different style of music again. This is Isatai, I think, Man of Sin, black metal, and it has that lo-fi feel to it. Not so lo-fi you can't hear what's going on, but definitely that kind of Dark Throne lo-fi feel, if you know what I mean. Um, and it also has a quite uh, 90s Norwegian black metal feel to it, that kind of cold but strangely melodic and melancholic feel to it. Um, Lots of tremolo picking all over the place, some kind of old school black metal blasting and screechy vocals. So it's that style of black metal. Now, I don't know if this counts as a controversial band. Uh, the style is described, some of the descriptors though, by this band is Comanche black metal. So lyrically, they deal a lot with Native American relating topics. Uh, it's now a one-man band. This guy left. I think he calls himself Little Wolf. I don't know if he is of Native American ancestry, but deals with Native American topics and also anti-colonialist topics. So there's that going on. I don't know if that's controversial. Doesn't sound like something I think is controversial, but uh, I actually quite enjoyed this. Just kind of like old school sounding second wave black metal. Um, Very cold and dark sounding, kind of lo-fi, but you can still hear what's going on. Screechy black metal vocals. This could have been something released in the mid or early 90s. I really enjoyed it. So good stuff. They have, or he, because it's now him who's left, has put out some more stuff more recently. I think a single called Kill the Colonizer. So I'm going to check out more of their stuff. Now, the king of mariachi, uh, Vicente Fernandez, Fernandez, I think, Palabra del Rey, Word of the King. I think I've heard this one before because I think Garage Geek, I'm pretty sure this was one of the albums he challenged me to listen to when he did a mariachi challenge. I definitely recognized a lot of the songs on here. Um, so this is an old tape. It had some problems playing, kind of started dragging a little bit. So I have to see if there's anything. It be the cassette player itself. It's the one I have is very sensitive. Uh, but you know, it could play, and I enjoyed it, and I recognized a lot of the songs. So it was good fun to hear some mariachi again, especially on a cassette tape. So Tool, and the last cassette tape is this one here, Surfin' USA. So again, completely different, a collection of surf rock songs on this type of cassette tape, and yeah, this tape sounds good too. The music, yeah, it's surf rock for the most part. You have Surf City, Surfer Girl, Bob Ran, of course. There is Fun, 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 Wipeout. So that's pretty cool. You have Wipeout on here. That's become a classic. Um, but there's also the Do Run Run. I never associated that with surf rock, but whatever. There is Pipeline again, which is pretty cool. The first time I heard Pipeline was Anthrax covering it, so it's pretty cool to hear this probably original version. You have Help Me Rhonda, which is a classic too. Um, Surfing Bird by the Trashmen. I So some of these are, very recognizable to me, and some of them I had never heard before. And I really liked, Pipeline, Surfing Bird, and also Wipeout. There you go. I really enjoyed those. One thing that I thought was very interesting was um, there seems to be quite quite some differences between the different types of artists that we consider surf rock. Like I said, the Do Run Run, I didn't even consider that to be a surf rock song. Uh, a lot of the songs on here, like the Beach Boys songs and the same ilk, are very kind of polished sounding. And then, of course, you have Wipeout, which is a little bit more in your face. And then you have Surfing Bird by the Trashmen, which is deranged in a way. It's dirty, it's gritty for its time, right? And it just sounds deranged and sounds like they're a bunch of lunatics. So I quite enjoyed that aspect of it. So cool. Really, really enjoyed listening to this one here, some surf rock. Okay, let's turn to the CDs, starting with this one here, a Battle Daggerath, and it is called Abyss Horizons. I think the owner of the record store put together these homemade obi strips, which I think is pretty cool. This one says the sixth seal of majestic astral black metal, a crushing soundscape of caustic yet solemn realms. So yeah, this is kind of atmospheric black metal. You do have some quite aggressive and extreme parts, tremolo picking, blast beating, all that good stuff. But you also have some very atmospheric instrumental parts as well, and that works very, very well. I enjoyed listening to this one for sure. Uh, I haven't listened a whole lot to atmospheric black metal, but I really enjoyed this one. I can tell you that much. So that was cool. Now, some blackened speed metal, Disastrous Bastards. This is super underground. It's CDR. So yeah, this is dirty, filthy speed metal with kind of blackened vocals, but musically it leans more towards, Venom and I don't know, Motorhead and that stuff. And also I would say like early Teutonic thrash metal. There's some cover songs on here too. There's Insulter of Jesus Christ, so they cover that one. So yeah, this is wonderfully blasphemic, beer worshipping, blackened speed metal, filthy, dirty speed metal, disastrous bastards, very underground. It's more like demo quality in terms of the production, but I know a lot of fans of that genre will enjoy it. So do check Disastrous Bastards out. I think they are an LA band too, as far as I remember. Now some death metal here with a homemade hype sticker. Fallen Angel Dissolution. That's what it's called. It's actually called Dissolution. Transcend with the Dead and Rotten. So this is death metal from LA as well. And the hype sticker says that it's raw, old school death metal from LA. And yes, this is raw and this is old school. I think this counts as cavernous death metal. You got some, mid-paced and semi-fast parts, and a lot of this is stuff you will recognize from again like early 90s death metal. And then you have these um, guttural vocals that have some reverb to them, so they add this sense of cavernousness. So really, really cool, filthy, dirty, horrible death metal. Not too long as well, which I quite enjoy. So you just good stuff. Old school death metal for sure. This also sounds like they could have been a band from Florida back in the early 90s. I guess the modern part might be the cavernousness, but really cool old school death metal for sure. And now back to the world of black metal, Fornicus, and it's called Hymns of Dominion. Nihilistic, barbaric black war metal from the USA. That's what the um, sticker here says. This came in a digipack. I have the digipack stored safely somewhere else, but it came with this kind of hand numbered certificate as well, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so this is, to my ears, this is brutal black metal. Fast black metal, pretty good production, not lo-fi at all, but fast and aggressive, evil vocals, lots of blasty parts, but some really, really cool guitar solos. I did not expect that. Like dive bombs and just shredding and kind of death metal sounding guitar solos. I enjoyed that, but for the most part, this is like brutal, aggressive, uh, maniacal uh, black metal, but with a very crisp production. So I'm thinking if you like Tudor, that Norwegian brutal black metal band, you might enjoy this one too, Fornicus. Uh, so there you go. Now this one here is interesting. So this is Winterriket, and it's Grau-Weiß, and this Obi says German dark, cold and melancholic ambient soundscapes. However, that wasn't the CD that was in here. it was actually this CD here, Dunbarrow. And this is far from ambient and cold and melancholic. This is 70s inspired, hard rock inspired, very old school doom metal with that kind of twangy, not too heavy guitar tone, quite slow rhythms, but not as slow as doom metal nowadays. So a lot of influence from the likes of Black Sabbath. That's the kind of thing. I wouldn't call it stoner doom though, just old school, 70s inspired doom metal. Quite enjoyed it. You have some quite occult themes, like Lucifer's son and weird rituals and all sorts of fun stuff. So I quite enjoyed this one actually. Not what I expected because I expected this, but Dunbarrow, old school doom metal, good fun, really enjoyable. And up last, this split here, and this also came in a digipack, which I have stored safely somewhere else. And as you can see, uh, with these CDs that come in digipacks, uh, I also use Nakaoka sleeves for an extra layer of protection. Anyways, so this is a split between Poisonous, which is a Brazilian death metal band, and I think it's this band here, and Demonic, which is an American death metal band. I'm assuming it's a local LA band. Uh, this is their logo. Limited to 300 copies, so a bit of a rarity. So yeah, this is also old school death metal. This is very old school sounding. Uh, as far as I remember, Poisonous is the first band on here. I actually can't remember, but let's assume it's Poisonous. And if it isn't, then it's Demonic. That is kind of mid-paced, with some heavy parts every now and then, but mid-paced to heavy, kind of autopsy-inspired death metal. That style of slow, evil, murky death metal. Really enjoyable. Again, if you like nasty, filthy, dirty, horrible death metal, this should be something worth checking out. Um, and the second band, let's assume that's Demonic, is they also have this kind of heavy sound. They have some more fast-paced parts, but not, again, not blasty, really. More like old school death metal fast-paced parts. And they have burpy vocals, not too burpy, but almost. So it's that kind of also filthy, dirty, nasty, horrible death metal. So definitely, if your name happens to be Marc G with a C, I think you will enjoy this. Also, other fans of death metal will enjoy this. Uh, I also think if your name happens to be Marc G with a C, that you will enjoy this one for sure. And if your name is Marc G with a C, I am pretty sure you'll enjoy this as well. And if you're not Marc G with a C, but you still like filthy, dirty, nasty, horrible death metal, I think that's something you'll enjoy too. Anyhow, so this was quite a musical journey. Barbra Streisand, some swing jazz, some Comanche black metal, maniacal war metal, some filthy, dirty, horrible, old school death metal, and early Latin pop love songs, and a surprise old school doom metal release. This was a musical journey. I enjoyed listening to this, and I enjoyed going on this musical journey. I enjoyed the surprises on the way. So thanks to Garage Geek for sending me this epic and diverse and adventurous VCLT. Like I said, check out the Garage Geek channel. Thanks for watching.
Genital grinder?